call this thing a wrap. We getting Jomaz out here? Because I'm about to go 16 down this weekend. Choo-choo. Yeah, it was an off day, a lot of wind, a lot of things not going my way. Get them next time? What's up YouTube fam, Robbie C here. Recently, I found myself at an A-tier event and I had an absolute blast getting to know and chatting with so many different people out on the course. And I'm learning that as players try to translate their success from practice over to rounds that matter and have something on the line, there is a disconnect in the middle in trying to bring that success from one to the other. So I thought to myself, well, why don't we start a series talking about exactly that? So this is going to be a two-part series. Part one is going to talk about how you as an individual can bring success from your practice rounds over to your tournament play. Part two is going to focus on how you can bring friends and groups into play to help translate that success as well. When talking about solo practice, I think there are three areas that likely come to mind, and I want to give you a few tips in each of those areas. But if you're not already, it would mean a ton to me if you would go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit that like button if you believe in trying to help each of us take that next step in our game. So what's the first area I think we can start finding success in? Putting practice. The story I hear so often is that when someone's out on their putting green in their backyard, they bang putts all day long. That at 20 feet or whatever distance they find themselves at, they are just banging putt after putt after putt, and it just feels like they literally can't miss. Yet when they get to the course or get to rounds that have a little bit on the line, they're doinking putts, they're hitting the band. There seems to be a flock of ducks going with them through their rounds because they're just hearing quack after quack. P.S. Does anyone else hear a quack when they miss putts these days, or is that just me? Let me know in the comments below. I've talked about this in another video, but I believe one of the best things we can do when we're on the putting green is not just practice repetitions. When I see people practicing, they usually have 5 to 6 putters in their hand and they're just firing them one after another. Yet I've never seen someone walk up to the green on the course with 5 or 6 putters in their hands. There's a direct disconnect between what we do when it matters and what we do to practice. Eric McCabe said it best, we need to practice how we play. If you only bring one putter with you during the round, then you need to practice putting with only one putter. I'm not telling you that you can't have a whole stack of them, but when you are walking through your routine, you need to go through the entire routine. For me, half of my repetitions during the week involve me placing the mini down, going through my entire putting routine, and firing off the putt. What this means is that when I get to an actual round, or there's a lot of stress, I can turn my brain off and let my body take over because I've practiced it so much and I know what that good putt feels like. But I promise, putting the time in on the practice green is going to make you feel so much better about your game than just rattling off another 25 putts that may or may not matter and bring you that success to your game. Another really important thing that you need to practice is putting with elevation. My backyard is thankfully really set up for this, and I can practice uphill putts and downhill putts. But if you're just putting from the same place over and over again or on flat plains, that is not something you find very often while you're on the disc golf course. We need to practice what we're going to find while we're out on the course if we ever want to have a chance to attack the course. When we're trying to bring success from practice rounds to tournament play, we have to start at the basket and work backwards. And that brings us to the next place we go to work, and that is the field. When I see people do field work, what it often looks like is them going to the field, taking their bag and throwing disc after disc after disc out into a huge open space and saying, I guess I did field work today. Am I better yet? There are very few situations in life or on the course where you're going to find this wide open space that you just get to throw your discs. The more ambiguous our goal is, the less successful our practice becomes. Show up with a specific thing in mind. Recently, I grabbed my whole barn of pigs, went to the field and practiced forehand and backhand hyzer upshots from 100 feet, 100 150 feet, 200, and 250 feet. I created a target that had a 30-foot diameter, meaning it was only 15 feet from the edge to the center. I then tried to place every single shot within that landing zone. Can I make putts from outside of 15 feet? Absolutely. But it allowed me to understand what it feels like to throw a backhand upshot from those distances. So when I find myself on the course in those distances, I can once again turn off my brain and let my body take over to throw the exact shot that I need, because I've done it over and over again. When you're going to the field, show up with a specific goal in mind. Some of these goals can include upshot practice, hyzer practice, anhyzer practice, roller practice, or you can do what most people think the field is for, and that is gaining distance. Do I think you can gain distance heading to the field? Yes. Do I think it's harder to gain distance rather than proficiency in all of the things I listed before? Also, yes. But I'm not trying to tell you you shouldn't go get more distance. I just choose to tack the game a little differently. Hashtag hot take. Speaking of going to the course, that brings us to our final area of focus. But before we dive into that, I want to take a moment to talk about today's sponsor. Disc golf chips. Disc golf chips is a super fun game that you can play with your friends or in your solo practice rounds. There are 21 chips in a complete set, and each chip signifies a special moment out on the course. These can include parking your drive, grabbing 3 birdies in a row. The chips aren't all good though. There are chips such as the first double bogey of the round. You assign a value to the chip, and as you earn chips throughout the round for achieving the accomplishments on those chips, you will either earn that currency or lose that currency. Head down to the description below so that you can get a complete set of chips for you and your friends and start having a little more fun with a little light pressure added to your next round. Now, let's jump back into our final area. The final area you can practice to start finding some success is in solo rounds. I'm an extremely extroverted person, so the idea of going and playing a solo round actually sounds terrible most of the time. Yet when I go and play solo rounds, that is where I get so much work done, because I do not feel any pressure or expectations from anyone else around me. I gain the opportunity to throw several shots on each hole and understand and try out some lines that I may not be willing to try if I had other people around me. We may tell ourselves, well, I don't really care what people think. But when really no one else is around, if you throw the shot you've always wanted to throw and it goes horribly, no big deal. No one else saw it. Unless you run a YouTube channel, and then lots of people might see it. But I guess we could edit that out. The other error I see in practice rounds is people playing best shot practice rounds. If every time you play disc golf, you take 4 shots on every hole and you play the best shot available, I can guarantee you that you are not going to succeed in most any tournament you play. Why? Because what you're teaching yourself is that certain shots just don't matter. If I throw a bad shot, I can always just throw another one from right here and it's going to be okay. I'll play the better one. My favorite format to play practice rounds is worst shot rounds. What is a worst shot round? You throw 2 shots from every single lie, and whichever one is the worst, you have to throw from that location. And yes, that includes putting as well. If you throw in a putt from 75 feet and you can't repeat it, then you have to walk up to the one that's not in the basket and put it in. You're going to see some incredibly high scores when you play a worst shot round, but you know what the best part about that is? When you jump into a tournament, all of a sudden you will be incredibly shocked at how well you're scoring, because now you don't have to make 2 30-foot putts for it to count. You just have to make the first one. Playing a worst shot round allows you to get in extra reps so that you get more consistency and more knowledge of the course, while also allowing you to keep your expectations in check so that when you head into a tournament, you can try to come in expectation free if you haven't gathered already. That is the biggest thing that you can focus on as an individual when prepping for tournaments. Expectations. Heading to the putting green and practicing your routine allows your body to understand what good putts feel like. When you know what a good putt feels like, you can expect to make them on the course because you know how to do it. Now, I expect this video has been going on for a considerable amount of time, and I don't expect you guys to stick around much longer. I hope you have an absolutely incredible week and that you can start implementing these tips into your practice routine to bring that success from the practice round to your tournaments. Thank you so much for coming by, but for now, I'm gonna leave you with the birdie.